Among the topics at the party's Congress, China's vision for the next 5 years and its place on the international stage. Current affairs commentator Einar Tangen is a senior fellow at the Taihe Institute. He's joining me now for a preview. So what can we expect from the party Congress? I know it's a time to look ahead, but also to assess the accomplishments over the past 5 years. Of course, no one could have predicted COVID. That certainly impacted things. But what do you see as the major achievements over the past 5 years that'll be highlighted, do you think?
Well, obviously, the eradication of extreme poverty, China's, focus on being more efficient, dealing with the kind of headwinds that have been out there, not only COVID, but also a lot of geopolitical stress going on. So, Mike, this is not necessarily the big policy meeting, although the people who are being, it's more about personnel. So the people who are put in positions will have a big effect in terms of the implementation. But, people have to kind of resist, especially in the U.S., thinking that this is like Congress or something like that, where there's a lot of horse trading going on in exchange for favors or something like that. All of this is done by consensus. So this is about picking the leadership for the next generations. There are a lot of speculations about it. There's about 20 people who would ordinarily retire based on some informal rules that are within the party that, if you're 67, you can stay. If you're 68, you must go.
And so what do you expect to come out of this party Congress in terms of like new faces or new personnel? What are your thoughts?
Well, there's a lot of speculation, and a lot of it is linked to qualifications, and that's really where it's very different in the U.S. You would, just say, oh, who's most popular, who can get enough money together, or special interests to support them. In China, it's a little different. You have to have recognition within your peer leaders. In essence, say, well, this is a guy who can get the job done, or woman who can get the job done, and you're going to be, based on your experiences out there. So it's a lot different in terms of new faces. I don't know that it's necessarily good to speculate. Obviously, Wang Yang and I believe Wang Yang and Hu Chunhua are often mentioned. But a lot of that is going to be depending on the number of people who will be on the standing committee. It has varied in number. It was changed from 9 to 7. It could be expanded, and obviously, it's at the end of the day, it's about the needs of the government, the party, to move the country forward. So they'll be selecting people based on what they think is the direction overall.
You don't see much of a shift, though, in terms of policy moving forward. I know that China's really talked a lot in recent years about innovation. We just had this piece about education. Sustainability, obviously, very important. One of the things that China's advocated, multilateralism. A lot of that still staying in place, I imagine. What do you suspect will happen over the next few years?
Well, I mean, China is forging ahead, trying to, in essence, deal with some artificial shortages that have been created. I mean, obviously, there's a tech war that's going up between, tech wall that's going up between the U.S. and China. U.S. believes that China can't be trusted. They're cutting off supplies of chips, the machines that make the chips. But China is, on the other hand, making breakthroughs. They've gotten down to 7 nanometers. They've increased the efficiency. And hopefully, from their perspective, they will be able to do it. Now, China is motivated by what they call their 2 centenary goals. And one relates to the people, creating a moderately well-off society and being inclusive. That was the education part that you're talking about. And the second one, and that's within the party itself. But then there's this centenarial goal that is related to the country itself, and that's this late 2049, when they want to have China be strong enough to protect itself, to avoid another 100 years of humiliation. And that's where this, the electricity, when you start talking about renewable energy, what is necessary for a country to survive in the future. These are perfect examples of exactly how China is moving forward. And these haven't changed. These have been in place for a long period of time, way before Xi Jinping. He's modified it and added to it. But in the end, this is a consensus government that moves forward based on the qualifications, not necessarily popularity.
And we'll be watching it all. Einar, thanks so much for your insights. Appreciate it.